Welcome, everybody, to Squadron Talk. That's right, we have a new name. I gotta give the props to Ben for the new name. What a name!
Well, thank you. Everybody's always having puns and witty things, and the not another podcast just wasn't working for us. Certain people that will remain nameless didn't want to keep up the illusion of the joke. Again, completely nameless. We don't mention names here, so it just hit me based on, of course, Squadron Hawk,
Right.
my the pillar of Cobblade, which was my favorite deck of all time. So I thought, I'd run it by my good buddy Medina, and boom, we are Squadron Talk, everybody. Welcome, welcome.
Welcome to Squadron Talk, episode 1. Right? Because not another podcast we did some other episodes. But yeah, that doesn't roll off
Yeah,
the tongue. So, anyways, tonight we're going to be talking about the MPL, Magic Professional League, and the changes that have happened. So, we've had a lot of
big
changes today
changes.
about the MPL, right?
Oh yes, big changes.
What
Been
happened?
shaken up. Well, we've had. I feel like we should have, that another one bites the dust song going in the background while we say this. But
Okay,
Jerry
editor, get on
T,
that.
yeah, editor on that. Jerry T, Jerry Thompson, has put out a letter, a public letter to basically everyone, saying that he is withdrawing himself from the MPL, and not only that, the reasons why. Very professional, very cordial, uh, and basically laying out why he's removing himself, and I think also putting those things out there in hopes that those things get changed for everyone else involved. Because he's not wanting to make it a dumpster fire. He's wanting to, through his actions, hopefully
Improve.
turn it into something, exactly, improve it into what it should be all along.
Okay. And I want to talk a little bit about Jerry's letter, but we'll do that after the overall. Let's talk about the overall. So we got a spot opening up because Jerry's leaving.
Right.
Then we have a spot opening up because of the topic of last week, Yuya Watanabe
Correct.
cheating, being removed
Oh,
forcibly.
yeah. Very forcibly. Too much
and
force.
and so we have these two situations here. They need two more people to fill them. Who are going to fill these things? Is it going to be the top rated players in the Magic the Gathering stratosphere?
Maybe LSV, maybe one of your favorite streamers, maybe like a Saffron Olive. Who did they get, Medina?
So here's who they
Which
got.
one of these answers is correct?
Well, it would fall in the camp of the Saffron Olive, the favorite streamer slash personality, at least for one, right? Because so the first one is Savitz, all right,
Yep,
which
well,
is
nailed it.
John John Mikoin. I don't know how to say the name.
Should have stopped at Svets.
I should have stopped because I did the name right, right? I should just stop right there. So one of the things is that Sweets is a really popular Hearthstone player. I used to watch his stream quite a bit when I played Hearthstone, and I like him. I think he's great. And so,
But not only that, in their article, they do point out a few things that they did reach the number one mythic ranking. So not
mhm.
only are they a streamer, but they're a very prolific
Yeah. Well, let's
player
not
on
leave out
the
the
arena
other
scene.
player before we keep going with the
Yeah,
article. Yeah.
of course.
Good job, Ben. Good job. Just leaving people out. So the second person
First
that
try.
they got, the second person that they got to fill the slot is Jessica Estevan. I hope I said that right. And she's going to be the first woman to join the MPL, as they put it in the article. And as you were saying, they both have reached Mythic level 1, right?
Uh,
Is that what you
no,
said?
that is not correct. No,
Oh,
just
okay. Wow.
Savitz. Jessica is what they say, the highest number of pro points for any woman during
Okay.
the 2017-18 season. She's the first woman to win a Grand Prix.
Okay.
And then she had a strong top 16 finish at the Mythic Invitational, where, again, she wasn't part of the MPL. She was one of the invitees and did very well there.
That's right. She did do very well at that tournament among the MPL players, right?
Right.
And so some of this stuff is causing a rift in the community, right? As
A
we know
rift
it,
bolt, if you will.
a rift bolt. It's being suspended, and then here it is, 3 turns later, and dealing some damage to the community. And
Yes.
so, how do you want to do this? Do you want to talk about the damage and the controversy first, or do you want to talk about Gerry T's um, kind of? There's two kind of situations: Gerry T's view of the MPL, and then what Wizards has made the MPL, I guess, become based on this new inclusion.
Yeah.
This new inclusion, meaning this announcement, not any one of the people, but both of these people, showing that they're willing to do a couple of things differently for the MPL this time. Where do you want to go?
Right. I think we'll back it on up to Gerry T. But before we start, I think I can speak for Medina here. We are not going to be trashing these two new players at all. They are none of this has anything to do with them. They are clearly accomplished players. So there's no negativity to them at all. So
No negativity at all. I mean,
we are positivity,
all the positivity,
all the positivities.
No, so. I think it's really, this damage, this rift bolt that hit the community. It's not their fault. They're working hard. Right. They're trying to do their thing, and they got selected, and they should not draw any ire for that. I don't think
right.
Right.
But you do see some of that on Twitter and social media where people are just upset, and they're putting targeting that anger in places that it shouldn't be targeted. So that isn't what we're doing here. We're just going to talk about the general things that are going on here and how we feel about it. So
right. So let's back it up to Gerry. So Gerry had done this once before at Worlds, right? He had kind of left them hanging, right? Because Worlds, it was Worlds, right? Did I have that right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. And so they had a set number of players who were going to play. It was all based on that. And Gerry, the day of, wrote another post, much like this one, saying, look, I'm not going to play in Worlds because of these reasons. Wizards is not star building. Wizards is not making, their pro players have a livable wage. Wizards not doing all this stuff. And so it was we'll try to link that in the comments, by the way, so that you can see what the original post was. We'll also link his current post, which is kind of much of the same. Now, the MPL came out and people felt like, oh, Gerry Thompson made a difference because this MPL is a lot like what Gerry was asking for. Now you get 70,000, 75,000, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, 75,000. Yep.
$75,000 contract from Wizards of the Coast to play Magic, to stream, and to do that. And they're star building. They're part of the MPL, and there's pictures of them, and they all had a photo shoot and other stuff. And so you see some of the efforts to do some of the stuff that Gerry was talking about. But Gerry says, hey, that's not enough, right?
It's not enough at all. Like from this insider perspective, and how it feels now, it definitely feels like the MPL is a crackerjack league. Like it is just
what do you mean crackerjack? What does that mean?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Wow, it's a joke. The MPL is a joke. Hot takes.
Well, I mean, hot take, real take, however you want to take it. But what's going on here is they're flying by the seat of their pants here. They hear what they should be doing, but they don't know how to do it. So they just throw some money at the problem, and they don't have the infrastructure to back it up. Going with a lot of the things that he's saying, where they shoot for the moon and they land in your backyard. They don't even failure to launch.
Reach for the stars, Wizards of the Coast. So part of it sounds like a lot of what, and now we're not going to go through every point of Gerry's letter, which is a very good letter, and you should read it. And I like all the points, but he did do a little bit of like pulling back the veil so that us like commoners can see what has been happening for the MPL players. There's a lot of stuff that they don't know. They don't have information that they need to have, like how to requalify for next year. So, and that's a bit rough, right? Because like, let's say you get the $75,000 paying job, Okay, now I can start to build a life. This is great. I have a
You live
mortgage.
accordingly.
I have a car, and then let's just say your job said, "Hey, by the way, we don't know if you're going to be working here next year." And then you say, "Okay, well, how do we make sure that I will be? Because I do like to have income, so I can live." And they say,
Stay
"Well,
tuned.
you'll get the information at a later
Yeah,
date to be
yeah.
announced, to be
Just
determined.
keep showing up, and eventually, it'll all
You'll
work
you'll
out.
you'll be good.
But
Don't
if it
worry."
doesn't, you know,
Then also,
we don't
it
care about
won't.
you.
So like that's part of the problem is this communication to the players who are in this, and also some other situations where there's some weird contractual stuff where it's making uh, the ability for these players to join teams difficult for some reason. And he did not go into detail about that, but esport organizations, right?
Which, and that's one of the things I wanted to focus on for just a moment here. He did point out, in kind of a cheeky, uh, you know, rhetorical question, that why is it that you don't see any team sponsored players? In that regard, if you look at the official announcement from Wizards about
Right.
these two players, it does mention that Savitz is
Savitz.
a member of Team Liquid. So
Right.
he is a member of an esports team.
Right.
Does he have to forfeit that team? Is he allowed to have that team, whereas the other ones don't because they don't get
Yeah.
grandfathered into a
Oh, that's
team?
a
I
good
mean,
question. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good
it's a
question.
bit shady because nobody knows. It's not just us.
It's
Nobody
Savit
knows.
Shady?
And
Is that what you said?
I mean, I have no idea. I would assume not. But what I'm saying, what I'm saying is, why, if they're already part of a team, and you're not allowing your other
Right.
members of your professional league to be part of a team, then that's where you can get into trouble, I would imagine.
Right. So I think that we both agree, right, that this was a really bold and brave move from Gerry, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah. I mean, I
basically,
wonder how much of this he was legally allowed to. I mean, he's talking about some stuff, right? That you got to you have to imagine they had to sign an NDA when they signed their contracts, and
right.
he doesn't get into super specifics, but he's skirting that line about the things that are going on here.
But well, also just like saying, yeah, I'm going to pass on your paycheck, right?
Yeah, I mean
Because
that's
he
the
was
big
in the
thing
MPL,
here.
so he
He's putting
could.
his money where his mouth is.
Right, right, and so he's rejected the paycheck from Wizards of the Coast, and now has been another rock in the boot for them. Like I'm gonna.
But they wished him the best. We like Gerry. We wish him the best and continue on. So, what does
so
that mean? Does that mean does he get invited as an invitee to these things? I mean, that would be pretty
that would
funny.
be cool,
You know,
right?
I'm not going to be a part of your MPL, but I'd be more than willing to come in as an invitee.
I'll come and
Yeah,
win that tournament and claim all that
yeah,
money. That's fine.
I'll take that money.
So I think for those of you who have not read the message, you should read it. I really applaud Gerry for
Yep.
standing behind his principles and saying still fighting the fight that he feels like he's not going to stop doing this kind of thing until Wizards as takes notice and does things what he feels is the right way. And it seems like a lot of people
Yeah.
agree with what is the right way. Now I can't comment on that because I'm not a pro player, and I'm nowhere near that. So I don't know what that life looks like, and I don't know what the need for the pro player is, But
Yeah.
I trust Gerry, and I think he's doing things that are not self-concerning. They're concerned with higher ideals, and anybody
Right.
who does that, I'm about that. I appreciate that.
All right. So, question for you.
Okay.
We'll see if we can get you to do any sort of takes here, everybody.
Okay.
I'm trying here. I'm trying.
Before
So,
we go there, let me bring the audience in on a little chat Ben and I had after last episode. So last episode we deal with some sensitive topics, and I try to toe the line and keep things a little bit a little bit still on the rails. I don't want to go off the rails like on a crazy train. Okay,
Yep.
I'm not trying to do
Yep.
that.
You want to ride that fence?
I'm not on every issue, but I felt like I handled those situations delicately. But Ben said, "Hey, Medina, listen, I've been listening to A-Team, and that was a different
Oh,
Medina. That was a different Medina. I heard a lot of hot takes coming from that Medina. He just snapped things off and said things, things that ruffled feathers. And you know what? I said, Ben, I'm a changed man. I'm different. I'm different now. I'm sorry, man. So Ben is going to try to extract a little bit of those hot takes from me. And, I'm not going to resist, because if I have something to say, I'm going to say it, obviously. But, I don't know. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that I have enough my takes are not hot enough for Ben. Okay.
well, here we go. We're going to try. So,
Okay.
the whole MPL.
Yeah.
Does it feel to you? Because it feels to me. So I'll just put out, there's my hot take. This is from like CEO level Hasbro down. We need a pro league. We need to do this. And Wizards
Okay.
like, we have something set up. No. Bigger. Esports. Hot, push button.
He's like, I want
numbers
those
and,
firework
words.
things on the side when people walk out.
We want 100,000 people on Twitch. What's Twitch? We don't know, but we hear we want it. So do you think that if that were true, which I think it is, with Hasbro not really knowing what they're talking about, but they're forcing, because they own Wizards of the Coast, to do these things, that they're not, Wizards wasn't prepared to do this, but they were forced to do it. And as such, since it wasn't a homegrown initiative, that it's completely falling apart. What other league can you point to? The NFL. I know how much you love football. Can you imagine one of their players going, "Nope, I'm just gonna go. I'm leaving."
They get paid
I don't
a
like how
little bit more
you're doing
than the MPL, so I mean that's a little bit harder to believe. But yeah,
right. But it's ridiculous. Like they have 30. If they have 28? So 30 people, 31 people.
yeah.
They've already had 3 gone.
Well,
2 by not their choice, 1 by their
disqualification,
choice.
right? 2 by disqualification, 1 by their choice. Yeah.
Right. But you don't want your pros being disqualified for any reason, right?
No,
you want them to be the
that.
pillar of your game. So,
no, but like, to be honest though, those other 2, like Yuya and Owen, they didn't have any control of the MPL. Could have been perfect in its implementation, and still have lost a couple of players like that to those issues, right?
well, they did select the people to go into the MPL, and they haven't told us how they select the people.
No,
and they
no,
haven't
we
told
know
us
how
they're
they
going to continue
selected.
to select people.
We know how they did select them. They did
The originals.
Yeah, the originals, they did top
Yeah.
32, and this is part of the problem, right? Because so what happened is a bunch of stuff happened. The Pro Tour got removed, right?
Yeah.
So like the Pro Club, or what, I don't know if it's a Pro Club, because some people are still saying I'm silver or something like that. So I don't know if the Pro Club still exists or what. But see, the fact that I don't know that just shows like the implementation. Like I have no idea.
And a lot of pros don't too.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what happened. But all we know is the Pro Tour's gone. Okay. And we know that this MPL came like shortly after that happened. And they also picked the MPL from the top 32 ranked players.
Yep.
And some change, right? So what happened was like some of them passed in the beginning and said, hey, like I work a 9-to-5 job, or I have a career. I'm not into this. Like I can't, do your thing. And so they went down like to the top 34 or whatever. But they basically picked from the top ranked players in the world. So then what people did is they made this like mental association, the MPL with the Pro Tour, or like the best of the best players in the MPL, right?
Right.
And so like now things have been changing, because when you have someone like Savitz or Jessica join the team, which are not the highest ranked players, not that they're not, they're obviously not bad players,
fantastic
great players, right? Yeah. Have shown their results, no doubt good players, but not in that top ranking, right? So then people are getting a little bit confused, and they're saying, well, why did they pick these two players who are not in the top. And Wizards of the Coast made some clarification of why they did it. In this announcement, they said, inclusion and additional invitations. The lack of inclusion and diversity in esports and competitive gaming, especially when it comes to women, is an embedded, long-standing issue. With the MPL and MTG Arena opening up the playing field in a big way, this is kind of true, what she's saying here. We want to state in no uncertain terms that we know the pool of talent is broad, and we think it should be represented in a concrete way to the viewers and fans of competitive Magic. The barriers women face when attempting to play competitively are significant. The MPL is making a purposeful effort to remove barriers and invite a slate of accomplished players who more fully represent the complete Magic community. Okay, so they've said now, okay, wait, the MPL is not going to be from these top players. It's going to be the top players, and we're going to start to make some inroads in the MPL and make some spots to represent the broader community. What do you think about that?
Yep. Nothing shows diversity like forcing diversity.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
They set a precedent. I know how much you love precedents. If anyone goes back to our previous podcast, so the precedent was the best of the best, top 32 players, right?
Right. Yep. That's what they started with.
Sure. They didn't say the top 32, and then quantify it. It was just the top 32.
Right.
So, then going forward, the next paragraph that you left off was that they're adding 16 discretionary slots going forward into the season for to encourage the broader representation, right? So why are you doing that to the 32 slots of the MPL? Why isn't it continuing to be the top 32 people? Then the diversity, that's great, that it needs to be there and that it should be there, but why isn't that being used up in the 16 additional slots unless that person is in the top 32? Because what about the guy or girl or whoever who would have been at that slot is now kicked off because they aren't a girl or they aren't a minority?
Okay, so let's get a couple things clear here. I think the MPL, I left that paragraph off because I don't think that it has a lot of bearing on exactly what we're talking about. Because what they're saying is, from what I understood, is these 16 slots are for the Mythic Championship, right? So
the Mythic Championships.
Right. It's not in the MPL itself. It's an invite to the Mythic Championship, right?
Which are the MPL events.
Yeah, they're part of the MPL is multiple things, right? It's the Magic Pro League itself. It's like the Pro Tour, right? Like it's like calling it the Pro Tour,
which are Mythic Championships.
Yeah, like it's. But then then there's the MPL. It's the people of the MPL, which is the 32 people, right? Does that make sense?
Right.
Right.
But I don't see why that matters.
No, but
they want to compete.
I'm saying that there's 32 people who are part of the MPL who are this core group, and then there's 16 slots that will be invited to these tournaments that are additional. They're not in the MPL, but they are invited to the tournaments that the MPL is holding. And the difference is that there are two people in the MPL who are kind of like what would be in these 16 slots, right? But they're actually in the MPL, which people are upset about, right?
Right. I mean, I'm not like upset because at the end of the day.
No. You said that there should be the 32 top players, and you're having an issue right now. I thought I heard you having an issue.
Issue and upset like this. I mean, at the end of the day, when I click to not record, I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to be able to sleep like a baby because this doesn't bother me. It's not encouraging. Because
I want to talk more about the forcing diversity topic, because I feel like that's something that I don't understand what you mean by that, first of all, And second of all, I feel like
it
that
it
sounds
happens a
like
lot.
something that I don't know if I agree with, like what you're saying.
Well, it happened in like in med school, right? That's the thing that has been happening for a while
Well,
where
I don't know anything
they
about med school, so you'll have to enlighten
well,
me.
why not?
Well, because
They
I'm a just a regular dude.
well, right, where they will you know keep X amount of slots open for minorities or different
Right.
qualifying places, as opposed to it's supposed to, for everything else, it's the top, say, 2% of people
Right.
that are supposed to be in there.
I see what you're saying.
And
Yep.
right. So they do that to encourage the diversity, but what that's doing is also taking slots away from people that have earned it as
Hmm.
well. So they've been pulling back on that because I mean that's not uh, right either, because you're
Earned
giving
it
slots
like earned it how? Like I don't understand. Like just being the top, you mean, right?
like whatever the metrics are,
Yeah.
GPA, skill level, all these
Well,
things, right?
it's not whatever the metrics are though, right? Because the metrics are some people who are the top get to have this slice of the pie, and some people who are in these demographics get to have this slice of the pie. So those are the metrics, right? Like set by the med school or whatever you're talking about, right? Those the med school gets to set the rules, right? And so if they say this piece of the pie is for all the top and this piece of the pie is for people at our discretion, why is that a problem? Why is the this piece now belong to this piece up here? Why all of a sudden do these people get all the pie? Why is that? Like, why
I
are you
don't.
trying to give this piece of pie, which they've designated to these people, to these people? Why are you trying to do that?
I'm not. I'm saying whoever is the most qualified should get the spots.
But you're not the med school. You don't get to decide that,
No, I'm saying it was that way. I mean,
right? Because
okay,
they cut
med
a piece of
schools,
pie for the top. They cut a piece of pie for these people. What's the problem, right?
because well, aren't at that point aren't you potentially putting someone who isn't less qualified than someone else, giving a spot that they have spent their whole lives
Well,
to achieve, and then it's not being given them because they aren't a minority.
I think there's a different ways to look at that, right? Because let's say this piece of pie, the top.
Okay, I love pie, by the way.
I do too. Lemon meringue for me, or pecan pie is my favorite. So let's say the med school has said, okay, this piece of the pie is for the top. The top 100 students get in here, right?
Right.
And then we're going to also let another 50 of these students who are also very talented, skilled, from these demographics in this piece of pie. Okay.
Right, but that's not what was happening. It was the top 100, and then they said then it's of those 100, we're going to take 30 of those spots, and it's going to be for a different. It's not. They're not adding.
So let's
they're takeaway spots.
Let's splice the pie. There's 100 slots. The
100
top
slots.
70 get this piece of the pie. The 30 at our discretion get this piece, right?
You
So
move the goalposts, but yes.
sure, but okay. So now to me, it's like somebody works their whole life, like you said, or whatever, and they want to be in the top 70, right? Not the top 100, top 70. They don't make it. They're 72. Well,
Okay.
what do you want me to do about that? They're not in the top 70, so they don't get to share in this piece of pie, and this pie is not for them because they're not in that demographic. So I'm sorry, but the med school who owns this whole situation had made a decision about how they want to run their school, and if you want to be a part of that, then you will agree with that decision, right? Am I totally off here or what?
No. But what about, for instance, of those 30 spots that you're talking about? What if the best of that slice was number 5 overall?
What do you mean?
So say the minority slice, say that person was actually the number 3 overall student.
Okay.
Right. So which part of the pie does that go?
I don't know. I let the med school figure that out. Like, why do I care about that? Should I care about that for some reason or?
Well, I mean, what you're saying is you're taking spots away
I think
from one or the other.
I think that accomplishes the diversity that people. Let's get out of the pie analogy. I think like if you're starting to see students from all these demographics in the top 70, then mission accomplished, right? Because they're getting to that diversity that they want in in their program, right? So like I think what's happening here with the Mythic Invitational, like if there was like some percentage of women represented in this section or you know I think that they would not have to do this, right? The diversity would be there,
Right.
right? So then it's not a question at that point. So I don't think you have to like think too hard about, well, what if there's a woman at the top three? You're like, well, okay,
That's
great,
great. Yeah, that's
right,
great.
awesome, sure. I think the rub, the thing that you're talking about is why make this spot. Why make a spot for a woman if she hasn't earned it? Is basically what you're saying, right?
No, what I'm saying is if they at the start of this, no,
Backpedaling now, man. You're totally backpedaling.
no, if they started the whole thing right,
Right.
at the top 32 players,
Uh-huh.
and then now they've moved the goalpost, right?
Yeah, but
So,
what's wrong with
so
moving the goalpost? Why is that wrong?
what about what about person number 33? I bet you they would think it's pretty wrong because
Well,
now they've lost out of a
but
$75,000.
how is that different than number 35?
How? Because originally it was they would have had that spot, right?
Well, what I'm saying is that at some point there's going to be a cutoff. Okay, somebody's going to miss out on the pie. Okay, if you get to Thanksgiving dinner late, you're going to miss out on the pie. And I'm like, personally, like, hey, man, if somebody's listening to this and they're kind of angry about what I'm saying, I don't want anybody to miss out. If you're working hard, I hope that you win. I hope that you accomplish your goals. I want that for you. I want anybody to accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish. But to me, it's like if Wizards of the Coast is making this program, they're allowed to change the program. The program is allowed to evolve to suit their desires or their vision for what they want it to be. And I don't think it's worth getting upset over if they're going to change it to make it a different vision. Yeah, okay. I think they could do a lot. I agree with a lot of stuff Gerry T says about there's areas to improve, right? I'm not
Right.
trying to give Wizards like a full pass on everything they've done. Okay, I'm not doing that at all. Okay, there's definitely areas where they can improve, especially the communication area and this kind of stuff. But as far as making room in the MPL for representation, like I think that's totally fine. I think that it just is something different at that point. It's not the top 32 players. It's something different. And I think that's fine. I don't think it has to be the top 32 players. And
Agreed.
I don't think the sky is falling. And I do think, I do think that this is going to this is going to encourage different elements in the community to play. And they're going to feel represented. They're going to try to like model themselves after these people and accomplish what these people are accomplishing, right? And I think
Right.
that's a good thing. That's a
100%.
good thing. So to me, I have no problem with it. I don't I don't get the problem. I think the problem that if I understand it is that there at one point there was this idea of the upper echelon, the best of the best Magic players, and there was some way to compete at that level, and now that's less of a thing.
Right.
And some people are mourning that loss, and if you feel mourning over that loss, I feel for you, and I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I don't feel that way, and that doesn't mean, hey, you don't get to feel that way or whatever. But I'm just giving my opinion, and my opinion is that the evolution of this thing is fine, and that there's no problem with that. And I don't know what else to say. What else can I say on that topic?
I think it's all been said. I think I think we're both for diversity. That's not an issue.
No, I thought you were not for diversity because you were saying all this
For
stuff about.
I don't like forced. I don't like being forced to do anything.
But do
So
you okay? So let's go back to the forced thing. Do you
okay.
do you agree that like opening these slots might help create paths and inroads for a more diverse Magic pro scene, a more
Oh
diverse upper echelon? Do you think
yeah,
that these changes would?
100%. Yeah,
Okay, so then
but
why are you against the forcing then if you feel like this would be a positive change?
why not add slots? Why not increase it to 34, 36,
Because I think
64?
it's like six or half dozen or the other, however the saying goes, right? Like because like people are still going to get mad and be like, well, if you're adding slots, why wouldn't you just add the best of the best in there? Like, okay, let's say there's five more slots. That's an awkward number because it's 37 players.
Right.
Six more slots. It's 38 players, right? So like, let's say there's 38 players. Then people are going to be like, well, why did you pick the top 38? These people are missing out. What about 35, 36? They're missing out because they're being pushed out. So I think it's going to be the same argument. It's going to be the same thing. And I understand it, right? That there's no upper echelon, only the best of the best.
Yeah.
That doesn't
I,
exist right now.
I think, yeah, I think I'll do the classifiers. At the end of the day,
At the end of the day,
this is no longer the Pro Tour. And I think we have to get that out of
I
our
agree.
heads. This is a marketing tool. The MPL is just pure marketing.
Well, what people will say is that the Pro Tour was originally marketing. It did not stand for professional. This is what people say, and I don't know what the truth is, but people would say that it did not stand for professional. It stood for promotional.
Oh.
Whoa.
Whoa.
So the MPL is just the evolution. It's like the EX version, the mega EX version of.
Wow. No. No. I'm shutting that down. I'm shutting that down.
No Pokemon talk.
Shutting that down.
No, and I'm not saying like there seems to be some problems with MPL, and Gerry has called them out. So I'm not saying hey the MPL is the bestest thing ever, but for this decision to open up these slots to include Savitz and Jessica, I think it's fine. I think it's fine.
Correct.
There's I don't know, man. Like I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad.
You're a chill guy.
I'm
like
pretty
that.
chill. It takes a lot to
Pretty
get
chill.
me mad, right?
It does. It does. We'll get there sometime, you guys. Don't worry. Stay tuned.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but what can we take away from all this? What at the end of the day, what do we say?
At the end of the day, John, we all want Magic to be better, but also Magic wants to make money. So we want to play it, they want to sell it. So there's always going to be some push and some pull, some give and some take.
Do you think this is like primarily a money thing? Like, would you say that diversity is all about the money, just because they want diversity because they want more market? Or
Yes, 100%.
You don't think
They
it's
don't
like a moral thing at all?
Honestly, okay. Here's the hot take.
Wow!
The camera.
Wow!
Wizards doesn't care who you are. They care about how much is in your wallet. And that's fine. I love their game. I'll play Cube a lot, but they don't care, because as long as they're getting money, they will keep making money. So if they have to tweak a knob here or turn on a valve there to juice up sales, they don't care. They'll do it.
But this means a lot to some people.
To us, yes, it means a lot to us, the player,
Right.
but not them, the corporation.
Right.
Especially a corporation that's owned by another corporation. So we're like, it's like secondhand diluted. They don't care. Hasbro doesn't care.
I think
Hasbro
sure. Probably doesn't care. I think I'm with you about that. I think Hasbro wants more market for sure. And that's what the diversity stuff is about for Hasbro. But I think that there's plenty of people in Wizards of the Coast who, from a moral standpoint, feel that making these inroads for people to enjoy the game from this aspect, right? Because
Yeah.
from a pro player's perspective, or enjoy the game in the highest level of play, I think there are plenty of people in Wizards of the Coast who do want that from a moral perspective, not only from like a target market, expand our reach perspective.
Right. Yeah. People do,
Yeah.
but those people don't make the
Corporations are people.
overarching decisions.
Corporations are made of people. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end,
And then they
at the
also
end
have
of the
CEOs at
day,
top that are not people.
you know. All right. So I think that's about wraps it up, right?
All right. I feel good.
Do you feel good?
I hope no one's offended, because that wasn't what we're trying to do. If
I was really trying hard to put Ben in a corner, and
yeah,
I was trying to make him eat his words a little bit.
takes a big corner. Big corner.
He's a big guy, so
Big guy.
But yeah, I hope that everybody. I hope that we communicate our points clearly, at least, and that everyone knows that we do care about you and the way that you enjoy Magic. We're not trying to take anything away from you. Just giving opinions on the things that Wizards of the Coast is doing, which at the end of the day, we have nothing to say about, because Wizards doesn't listen to us, and they hardly listen to you, and they don't listen to Gerry T. That's for sure.
And at the end of the day, we're not a corporation.
We're not. So we do care about you.
So that's how you know we care.
Yeah, because we're not a corporation.
That's right.
Squadron talk. We're not a corporation.
That's right.